What's going on, boys? No specific points this video. I am at a loss, so we will trundle through a few topics and see what we come up with. One thing that bothers me is the degree to which humans have no idea what they are or why they do what they do. Another thing that bothers me is any moment that engages fight or flight for real and what the consequences of one of those moments mean for us today. I think one of the reasons I've been experimenting with these different critical lens ways of looking at life and processing emotions and thoughts is preparing for an explosion. There's a difference between a meltdown and an explosion. Now, meltdowns are ugly and scary and they have consequences, but you're going inert. You aren't acting. The consequences of a meltdown will be whatever happens if you fall apart in an ugly way. An explosion is different for three reasons. 1, fight or flight kicks in. 2, you are acting. You are taking actions. And 3, because you're in that state and real fight or flight has kicked in, you have no control over those actions. Meaning, the consequences of an explosion are the consequences of an unguided rocket. One could be bad, but the other is much worse. One of the objectives of these critical theories, I think, is to manage meltdowns and explosions. For meltdowns, either stay upright, prevent yourself from going inert, at least until you can get somewhere safe, and for explosions, at least directing the energy consciously a little bit. Freezing or complying is part of fight or flight, and I've found that doesn't work. Flight isn't an option, because where are you going to go? If something triggers fight or flight in a human today, you're dealing with either an apex predator or a state. You can't run from either. They'll catch you. You can't comply with either. They want to kill you, even if they suggest otherwise. Your only option is to fight. You'll die, but dying that way is better than whatever they have in store for you if you were to run or freeze. One of the points of these critical theories, I think, is to prepare yourself to die on your terms somewhat instead of hoping. Now, that idea ties back into the first point. Humans have no idea what they are or why they do anything. Lifting weights was stressing me out. The only way I could push myself to climb was to beat myself down, and that stopped working. The vibe changed from a spiteful dread but making progress to scared dreading this and regressing. So my solution was to tweak the mindset. The objective was to find a way of looking at it that is also true, is more conducive to progress, and even if that progress doesn't happen, at least feeling good about everything. The mindset changed from, I need to be better than these people who are leagues better than I am, I don't know if I'm capable of that, and any degree of failure proves that I am not capable of that, to, it's okay to fail. You're doing this because you enjoy it. You're afraid of something that doesn't matter. Once you get comfortable with failing and you see you're still alive, the fear will go away and you can make progress. Not because you're trying to beat people, but because you're enjoying yourself. And if that progress doesn't happen, that's okay, because you're enjoying yourself. And that worked for a while. Many of the little hiccups that were preventing me from making progress or even enjoying the weight I could move went away. I made sure to fail regularly so I would get comfortable with failing. I don't know about you, but repeated failure sticks with me. When I put great effort into something multiple times and it still fails, I don't want to do it anymore. If you're wasting energy either way, in my head, it's better to waste it on something that will bring you any degree of happiness than to waste it on something that will turn you into a wreck. Now, I understand YouTube coconuts lack the ability to use their noggins, so I need to say that doesn't apply to everything, but that's how it feels. So I was practicing enjoying something I love despite failing. And then I benched 255. I got it once and I was happy but not satisfied. In my head, if you manage something once, you haven't earned it. You got by on luck, or reaching beyond your means, or something other than mastery. And your mindset probably wasn't in the right place. Because if you've mastered something, you can pull it off at least 3 times calmly. So I went in for another rep, expecting to fail this time, but practicing joy and calmness despite failure. Except this time I failed in an ugly way I haven't before. I got the left side on the lower rack, but not the right. The right side of the bar went down across my throat and collar. I don't remember how I got out, but I remember if I let go of the right side, it was going to choke me. And the only way to get out without choking was to move something I just failed to move. I remember if I were to get out, I would need to let the bar go completely across my throat to create enough space to wiggle out, and I think I got my left hand in enough to create enough space enough to wiggle out. But if I fucked up, that would be the bar completely across my throat, 2 times proving I can't move it, and an even worse situation. But there's one other important thing I remember. I have a hard time gauging what I really feel about anything because I'm always afraid I'm performing, or other memes have wriggled their way into my noggin enough to affect my reactions to things. I didn't feel bad about my paternal grandfather's death until I saw other people's reactions. At that point, I was messed up pretty bad. But were those bad feelings mine, or were they reactions to other people's bad feelings? I have no idea. Do I actually feel bad, or am I, on some level, performing because my ego is telling me to perform? Meaning, I don't trust my reactions are mine unless they come from the lizard brain. And while I was pinned under the bar, I called for help. I called for help twice. It was completely irrational. There is nobody around. Nobody is coming to help. And calling for help is wasting time, energy, and breath. But I did it anyway. And surprise, nobody came. This is another situation. You deal with it alone, or you cease to exist. And again, at first, I didn't know how to feel, because there's nobody around. I could react to nobody but myself. And I felt good because I got out, but I was fixated on the fact I called for help knowing it was pointless. Like a superhero was going to come out from behind the curtain and get the bar off me. right? There was a fight or flight check, and I failed. There was no rational reason to hope, and I hoped anyway. No amount of critical theory put me immediately into fight. In a moment in which there was absolutely no way to hope and no time to think, there were still 2 seconds of hoping. If in a situation no hope can exist and you hope anyway, no amount of conscious effort will make that hope go away. Meaning, in a split-second, absolute pass-or-fail situation, there will be an involuntary, irrational moment put toward failure. Now, if you extrapolate a split-second to a lifetime, you give yourself a lot of time and more opportunities to think you can hope, and you'll realize you'll spend a significant amount of your life hoping for something that isn't there. If you forfeit a moment hoping, knowing you absolutely cannot hope, you will waste time hoping when you think you can. And I don't know what to do about that. Now, I'm sure you do, because you're smart, you know the reasons you do everything. You have control over your lizard brain, and you would never do anything irrational. But I don't, and that bothers me. Now, we were going to spend the rest of the video discussing the disturbing degree to which people don't know themselves. Nothing's more obnoxious and hindering to studying people, especially in me and myself when I do it, than when people do impressions of the sorts of people they want to come off as and not realize that's what they're doing, but we'll maybe talk about that another time. I'm hungry right now. In summary, no amount of self-work and rationality will save you from a moment or a lifetime of irrationality when you cannot afford it. Everything will always come down to you alone, and you can't make good decisions because who you are is not what you are, and you have no idea what you are is. Other than absolutely irrational anyway. But that about rippity wraps this one up. I hope you enjoyed watching, because I certainly enjoyed making it. Like if you enjoyed, because it helps me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't, because we do this shit sometimes. And comment your thoughts, because I love hearing from you. But thanks again for watching, everybody. Really, we have a lot of fun on this channel. So much fun. In fact, you can take it as a supplement that may or may not do anything. But it's still fun anyway. That's how much fun we have on this channel. And I look forward to doing this with you guys again in the future.